introduction, life is fleeting. You have one shot, you better make the most of it. Today is a gift, tomorrow is uncertain. Here to tell us how an innocent bike ride for gummy bears helped him understand one of life's greatest lessons. Please welcome Toastmaster Will Hammond with his speech titled, Life is But a Flicker.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as the youngest member in the room, I want to make sure that I can actually relate to y'all. Think back to your childhood and raise your hand. Who here has ever had a bike? All of us, great. Now, who here has ever wrecked that bike? Quite a few of us. I'm luckily here today to tell you about wrecking my bike and the lesson it helped me understand from my grandma. Last summer, I found out my left knee is permanently dislocated. It would take 6 months of intensive physical therapy to avoid major surgery at the ripe age of 20. For the first month, I was in a leg brace that went from just below my hip to down to my ankle. The only way I could walk around was by throwing my leg around like this. Imagine walking like this for a month, like Frankenstein, in the Florida heat, a heat index of 112. Not a good time. I was pouring sweat out of it daily. I never really learned how to walk properly, and this led me to injuring my back. After 2 months of therapy, my therapist declared me that I could slowly begin trying to get back to my regular activities. I took this to mean that I could instantly jump on my bike and ride 10 to 15 miles a day. My therapist didn't agree with my assessment that much. I found that out. For the first time, I felt whole again. I felt like I'd never gotten hurt. Boy, was that about to change. On one stormy Friday evening, I found myself craving gummy bears. I told my mom that I was off, and I hopped on my bike and headed towards Fresh Market. I snaked my way through the brick streets and rush hour traffic of College Park towards the store. After securing the coveted gummy bears, I hopped back on my bike and dashed the 2 miles home, hoping to beat the storm. Friday night in Ivanhoe is like a zoo. It's crowded much like Park Avenue, yeah, you know, nestled along downtown Orlando. People are coming from every direction, nobody's paying attention. 80% of the people there just want to get to the Lucky Lure or any of the other bars on that section. To avoid Mills Avenue, in Virginia, I raced down the Orlando Urban Trail, which heads from Mead Gardens to downtown Orlando. I unevenly wobbled on my bike as the 5-pound bag of gummy bears swung from side to side. And yeah, I am kind of ashamed to admit it was 5 pounds of gummy bears. I'm showing my age here. I like gummy bears. I cut behind Lake Highland, and I ran into a wall of people trying to make their way down to the bars on Orange. I slowed down, and I slowed down behind the throng of people until I just finally had enough. Oh, they were going so slow. I had to get home before that storm, and those gummy bears, they were really starting to call my name. I slowed down slow enough to move around and past a large group on my right. All was well and good until about an equal amount of people came down on my left. I slowed down, trying to jump the curb like I've done a million times before on my bike. Only this time, disaster would strike. Something caught the front edge of my wheel and stopped my bike dead in its tracks. It was like the force of a brick wall hit me. I was instantly thrown over my handlebars and slammed my right shoulder into the ground. The gummy bears on the left of my handlebars and my chain wrapped around, on the chain of my bike wrapped around my ankle, ensuring that I didn't make a clean break from that bike. The force of the bike and I slamming into the ground as one cracked my helmet, leaving it destroyed. I ended up sliding into the road, only missing skinning my face by 3 inches as I rode up on the front edge of my helmet and destroyed it. Somehow in all of this, a car managed to sneak up on me, coming around a curve, and hadn't seen all this happen. I was thrown into the road, and that car missed hitting me by 4 inches. I could feel the heat coming off those tires across my face and arms. I laid there for a moment, fearing that I had been paralyzed. Actually, for that, as if that wasn't enough, my 26-pound gravel bike, which had been chained to my ankle, came down and slammed into my knee at the weakest point. I laid there, fearing that I had been paralyzed as I wasn't able to move for minutes. I slowly managed to fight to my feet, as I struggled to get back to reality. I am the luckiest person alive to have survived such an encounter with death, and let alone be able to walk. My doctor at ORMC told me he should be building me an entirely new knee. But luckily, I'm walking away with a small scar on the inside of my knee, a tiny tear in my MCL, and a new outlook on life. My grandma, Corrine Hammond, was one of my best friends. Her life was shaped by hardships, but not dictated by them. She had an indomitable spirit and a resolve for life. She had many sayings, but one of the words I heard the most was, "Life is but a flicker." As a young man, I never understood what that meant. I was 5, 10, 15, 20. My grandma was 83. My grandpa was like 79. What does that mean? That's like 50 years, Grandma. I've got time. Life's long. It wasn't until I was 4 inches from getting run over by a car that I realized life is but a flicker. I might have my medical condition, and that might have shaped my mind. But at any moment, life can end. There is no going back. 6 months after my grandma passed, it all made sense. Life is fleeting. Time marches on, whether we like it or not, and it waits for no man. At any moment, our flicker can go out, like the end of a Looney Tunes. But that's all, folks. You don't get another shot, so you better make the most of the shot you have and actively tend to your flicker, ensuring that it stays lit. Life is but a flicker, and my flicker was nearly extinguished on Lake Highland Drive. Live every moment like your flicker will go out today, and work every day to ensure your flicker endures until tomorrow. For as Grandma Hammond used to say, life is truly but a flicker.